I started trading 7 years ago and I tried so many different scalping strategies. It took me 3 years to learn and perfect how to scalp profitably. And fast forward to now, I trade for about 90 minutes a day and have been profitable for the last 4 years. In this video, I will show you why you don't need a complicated strategy and how I was able to get rid of all the guesswork and second guessing from my trading. We will go over everything I learned in the last 7 years, from the lessons I learned losing money to the simple strategy I trade every day, so you will see a real strategy that is profitable. So in this video, I'm going to be going over everything that I've learned in my last 7 years as a full-time scalper. This is going to be the full course on how I would start scalping again. And remember, I've been trading for 7 years, but 4 years ago when I first started becoming profitable, this was my results. And at one point, I actually did go negative on my account again, but using the systems that I'll explain in this video, this is what's helped me keep my consistent growth over the last 4 years. Now, it's very important to remember that it took me 3 years to become a profitable trader, and trading is not a get-rich-quick scheme. Using these systems, you will not get rich overnight. However, for myself, these are the exact systems that help me be consistent and a profitable trader over the last 4 years. So there are 3 scalping strategies that we will talk about today in this video, and all of these will be extremely simple. However, first I will show you exactly how each strategy works, and then I will show you real examples in the real markets so you can see how I implement it in real time as well. Now, first we have to understand what is scalping. There are 3 simple lessons that you need to understand. Lesson number 1, we are trying to catch quick movements in price. We are not looking to sit in front of the markets all day. For myself personally, I trade from 9:30 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern every single day. Therefore, I am not sitting in front of the markets all day looking to capture the stock from the absolute bottom to the absolute top. I am simply looking to capture the big momentum move, and therefore this will happen when the most volume is, which is from 9:30 to 11 a.m. Eastern. And this is exactly why, like I said, we need to catch the big move, not the full move. Most likely when we're looking to catch these big movements in price, we need to understand with the mechanical and repeatable system, it is very unlikely that we catch the full move every single time, but it is possible to catch the big moves. And therefore, this is what my scalping system is built upon, catching these big moves with quick momentum so I can be done the day in about 90 minutes. Because at the end of the day, for me, my main goal with trading is to be done the day early, and therefore I can do other things like spend time with family and friends and do things that truly matter throughout the day. Therefore, if you have a full-time job, you're a student, or you have other commitments throughout the day, this scalping system may help you. First, we have to understand the system. The system I trade is the break and retest setup. If you've watched my previous videos before, you know what this is, but you may still need a refresh to truly understand how to use this with the entire strategy. And if you haven't watched my videos before, you need to understand this to understand everything I'm going to talk about in this video. First, let me ask you, what do you think this stock here is doing? So far, we can see we have a clear level where sellers keep stepping in, and we have a clear level where buyers keep stepping in as well. So what does this mean? Well, this simply means that the stock is in range price action. We have a clear resistance at top, and on the bottom, we have clear supports. This means that on top, there are more sellers than buyers. The sellers are holding the stock to the downside, whereas on the bottom, there are more buyers than sellers, and they are trying to hold a stock for a move to the upside. And understanding that foundational principle of trading, everything revolves around this. So for myself, I trade the break and retest system. All this means is if we have a key level, remember, this was previously resistance. As you can see, sellers kept holding it down. But when we break above this, this means that before there was more sellers than demand at this area over here. But when we break, there is more demand than sellers, right? Or more buyers than sellers. And therefore, when we come back for a retest or we pull back into this previous resistance, this should turn into support now, because buyers know this is the level they need to hold if they want to see a continuation move to the upside, as the market trend or structure will break if we break below this level. Therefore, this level gives us the lowest risk but the highest probability trade for a move back to the upside. So now that we understand exactly what scalping is and we understand how the system works, what are the 3 profitable strategies that I trade on a consistent basis? Strategy number 1 is the first candle strategy. Now, for this strategy, all you need to do is draw out the first 5-minute high and the 5-minute low. This occurs from 9:30 a.m. Eastern to 9:35 a.m. Eastern. You're simply looking for the stock to break above or below the 5-minute high or the 5-minute low, and then looking for the retest. In this example, you can see the stock came back for a retest. Buyers stepped up aggressively on this name. This is where we would enter in. Once again, if you don't understand how to read candlesticks and price action, I have a full 10-hour playlist going over everything you need to learn about trading from beginner to pro. That will be in the link in the description. It is absolutely free on YouTube. You can watch that after this video. When we enter in here, this was a 3R trade. This means for every $100 that we were risking, we would have made $300 if we hit our profit target. You can see this trade ended up showing some buyers. We pulled back a little bit, but then we hit our profit target. For the first candle strategy, all we have to do is mark out the 5-minute high and the 5-minute low, and then look for a break and retest of either side. What is strategy number 2? This is the previous day strategy. And remember, if you're a little bit confused, don't worry. When I show you the real examples on the charts, I'm going to slow everything down so you understand exactly how to trade this system. In this example, all we want to do is mark out the previous day high and the previous day low. Now, the previous day high and the previous day low is from 9:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern. That session right here, we want to draw out the low of that session and we want to draw out the high. It doesn't matter if you're trading stocks, options, futures, forex, or crypto. This is the session you're going to draw out. Then on the next day at 9:30 a.m. Eastern, when the New York Stock Exchange opens, this is where we would want to look for a break above the previous day high or a break below the previous day low, and then the retest. In this example, you can see we got a nice retest entry here. This is where we would look for buyers to step up. Once they do, our stop loss is simply going to be a break back below this level, and our profit targets are going to be high of day. Our profit targets for a bullish trade, which means a trade to the upside, are going to be high of day or a 2R multiple, which means for every $100 of risk, we're going to be making $200 of profit. And for the bearish side, our profit targets are going to be low of day or, once again, that 2R multiple. In this example, you can see high of day would have gave us a 2R multiple, and therefore this was a very nice previous day high strategy executed nicely. Third profitable strategy is the pre-market strategy. Now, for this strategy, all we do is mark out the pre-market high and the pre-market low. The pre-market session is 4 a.m. to 9:30 a.m. Eastern. You mark out the high and low of the pre-market session, and then when the market actually does open at 9:30 a.m. Eastern, we are simply looking for the stock to either break above the pre-market high or below the pre-market low. In this example, you can see we broke above. We then look for the retest or the pullback entry into that pre-market high area. We want to see buyers stepping in, and once we see that, we enter in with our stop loss at a break below the pre-market high, and we are looking for high of day and potential continuation. In this example, that high of day trade gave us a 3.28R multiple, which means for every $100 of risk, we would have made $328 of profit. So with this being said, I explained what scalping is, I showed you my system, and I showed you 3 simple strategies that I trade on a consistent basis. Now, this is going to be the most important part of the video, and this is going to be real trading examples. For every single setup that I just showed you, now I want to show you real trading examples, so by the end of the video, you can understand exactly how I trade this in real time. All right, so here we are on our first example. In this example, I'm going to show the 5-minute opening range retest. So all we have to do for this example, as we can see, we have pre-markets here. We do not have to mark out anything until the first 5-minute candles form. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now that the first 5-minute candles have formed, all I'm going to do is mark out the high of the first 5-minute range, and I'm going to mark out the low of the first 5-minute range. Now, with this scalping setup, what we're looking for is at least a 2R multiple, meaning for every $100 of risk, we need to make at least $200. And to actually form this setup, all we're looking for is a break above this key level, a retest, and a move to the upside. Or we can even look for a break below, a retest, and a move to the downside. If you don't understand by now, with this setup, you don't need a daily bias. You don't need to come into the day with a very strong bias on which way the stock will move. For myself personally, I can come into the day with a thesis of what I think should happen, but it's very important that you remember when you come into the day, what you want to do is react to price action. We never want to predict, but rather react to the same patterns that we see on a daily basis. Now, with this being said, let's play this chart out and see exactly what happens and if we do get that 5-minute retest. So far, we can see we actually moved down into the 5-minute low, but we did not break that level. And one of the great things about the 5-minute range retest is that it actually allows you to not be stuck in this consolidation or chop. As you can see, we had some consolidation here, but we were not stuck in it. We did not have any entry. But now when we're actually coming back into this area, what is happening? What we can see here, we have the 5-minute range, we broke above, and now we are retesting. What does this mean? This was first resistance resistance. It is now turned into support. We see buyers stepping up, showing that buyers understand that we need to hold this level for a continuation move to the upside, and therefore I would be interested in a long position here. For my stop loss would simply be a candle closure below the candle that I entered in on. This also aligns with this pivot high right here. And for my profit target, I need at least a 2R multiple. At high of day, we get only a 1.39. So in this example here, we can use the 529.50 level. This is a previous day pivot level from the day before. And now all we're going to do is enter into this position and see exactly what happens. Like I said, this is a 2.29 risk to reward trade, meaning for every $100 of risk, we should make $229. So let's see what happens. And as we can see in 1, 2, 3 candles, or essentially 3 minutes into the trade, we made $1,150. Now, the market opened at 9:30 and we are done our day at 10:01. We only traded for 30 minutes on this specific day and we made $1,150 by understanding this simple scalping setup. This is the 5-minute opening range. You can use this either to the bullish side or the bearish side, but now let's go over to the previous day high and low strategy. All right, so here we are on the previous day high and the previous day low example. All we did was mark out the previous day high. As you can see, the previous day high starts from 9:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern, and we marked out the previous day high and the previous day low. Pre-market, we are actually breaking above the previous day high, so what do we want? We simply just want the stock to break above this previous day high, come back and retest this previous day high for the continuation move to the upside. So let's play out this trade and see exactly what happens intraday. So far, we can see we are getting that break to the upside. And really what we want to see is the retest into this key level. So that's what we're going to be waiting for. And so far, we're just really seeing consolidation near this previous day high level. And here we can see we came into that previous day high level and what happened. This is where it's important to understand price action when you're scalping. Now, like I said, I have a full in-depth price action course for free on my channel. The link to that is going to be in the description for that playlist. But as we can see, so far we moved to the upside, we came back for the retest, we already broke out, and now we're simply just waiting for this retest to happen. Now we can see the retest already happened at this previous day high, and we had to wait for a little bit of price action to confirm that buyers are stepping in near this previous day high area. A lot of traders simply don't wait for that confirmation of buyers stepping in, but as we can see, we created this lower wick, and on top of that, we are seeing that extremely bullish price action. So how would I enter into this trade? Well, I would enter into a long position here. My stop loss will have to be a break below this key level, or this candle that was the low of day candle, or the retest candle, and I need at least a 2R multiple. In this example, the 2R multiple comes at the 678 whole psychological number. If you don't understand where I'm getting these psychological numbers from, these are simply whole numbers. So in this example, it would be 678. That's a whole number. That's where most institutions are going to be buying and selling, because we know institutions and hedge funds buy at psychological numbers rather than numbers like 678.54s or 678.66. Those are random levels where big institution orders are usually placed at whole numbers. So with this being said, we can enter into a long position here, and let's see exactly what happens for this trade. And just like that, we were able to capture this entire move back to high of day, and we even got continuation into our 678 key level. Like I said, this was a 2R trade, and it was a very simple way to capture this movement on Meta. Now, this was the previous day high and low retest. Let's go over to the final example, which is the pre-market high and pre-market low. So here we are on our final example. This is going to be the pre-market high and pre-market low setup. Now, for this setup, all we're going to do is, like I said, from 4 a.m. to 9:30 a.m. Eastern, this is going to be the pre-market low, and we're going to mark out the pre-market high. Now, once we have these levels marked out, all we're looking for is a break above, a retest, and continuation to either side. This could either be to the upside or to the downside. All we're looking for, like I said, is the break first and then the retest. The beauty of the setups that I'm teaching you in this video is that you don't have to put too much mental focus. You simply wait for the key level to break. Once it breaks, then you wait for the retest. If you get strong price action on the retest, you enter in and you look for continuation. It is really that simple. You do not want to overcomplicate your trading with a bunch of different indicators and a bunch of different confirmations. You want to keep it simple and repeatable every single time. So with this being said, let's play out this trade and see exactly what happens. Here we can see we got the breakout right away, and we are also getting the retest right into where this pre-market high area. So we would simply enter into this trade here. Where would our stop loss be? Our stop loss can simply be a little bit below this candle right here that actually had that impulsive move to the upside, and our profit target needs to be at least a 2R multiple. In this example here, we can simply just aim for that 204 psychological number. Like I explained in the last example, we use this because this is where institutions are placing their orders as well. And this would be a 2.88 risk to reward trade, meaning for every $100 of risk, we would be making $288. So let's enter into this trade here and see exactly what happens. As we can see, this was a simple $500 trade in 1, 2, 3, 4 minutes by simply understanding how the pre-market high and low setup works. Now, though I am showing you the example of this trade, this actual trade was taken live in real time with my executions in front of hundreds of traders. So with that being said, if you got value from this video, make sure to leave it a like. If you have any questions, put them in the comments down below. Make sure to subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys next week with a brand new video.